Hello, how you doing? Welcome back once again to How to Cook Great. Today I'm going to be making some more Ethiopian food. This is Siga, Dinach, Kaiwat. Siga meaning meat, Dinach meaning potatoes, Kai meaning red, what, like BERBERE. Absolutely delicious. I will be trying to use my very limited Amharic to explain some names of things as we go along. Amharic is the national language of Ethiopia. Let's get on with it. It does take a while, but it's absolutely divine. So let's take a look at what we have here. So here's my meat. I've got some lovely beef here. Really beautiful. Cut it into nice, decent sized cubes. There's a nice bit of fat on it, which I want on there. I don't want it too lean. The fat really works out nicely. I've got about 1.5 kilos there of the cubed beef. There's no bone in there. Potatoes, cut into kind of like fat chips, you know, big fat fries or whatever you want to call them, size. Roughly the same amount looking in volume. Onions. Now, unlike Dorowat, the chicken one, which has an astonishing amount of onions in, you don't need to do that for the beef wat. So, I mean, there's still quite a lot there. There's like sort of 6 or 7 onions chopped really small. Here we've got the BERBERE powder. There's about 4 or 5 tablespoons of that. A lot of garlic. Now, what I've done with that garlic is I've put that in my machine, got it nice and thin, and I've added some olive oil to it. There's 1.5 cups, I would say, of garlic. This stuff here, you probably won't have it, or many of you won't have it. It's called MEKALESHA. It's like a kind of finishing little spice. We're going to just drop a little bit in at the end. I'll leave a link or a video will pop up at the end on how to make it. It's a kind of garam masala type thing. That's about it. We're going to start this off in a pan. We're going to add quite a lot of olive oil to this and salt. It's delicious. Okay, so you're going to need a large pot. The heat is on, and without dropping in any oil, just dry, let's get our onions in there. And like I say, when you're making Dorowat, the onions would kind of come up to here, like over halfway. But for this beef wat, it's not really necessary. What we're going to do is we're going to cook these for about 4-5 minutes or so on a quite lively heat. The aim is to dry them out a little bit, kind of dehydrate them out a little bit. So keep it moving. I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Ashi or okay. Our onions are drying out nicely. Really important to do this. Don't rush this process. In fact, when you're making any type of wat, it's quite a slow process. So the name of onions in Amharic is shinkut. We're now going to be adding our beef in, a lovely beef with a little bit of fat on it. The word for meat in Amharic is siga. So our siga is in, and we're going to go just for 5 minutes on a fairly lively heat. I'm on an above medium heat, so quite high. Yeah, just 5 minutes, just kind of seal it a little bit. Then we can move on to the next part. So just 5 minutes just to seal the meat or the siga. Obviously nowhere near cooked. Next up we're going to drop in our garlic, and it's a lot of garlic, like, you know, a cup and a half of garlic. And my garlic has been mixed with some olive oil so I can smooth it out. The name for garlic, by the way, is nech shinkut. Nech shinkut. So it basically means white onion. Nech is white, shinkut is onion. Okay, I'm going to now add some salt. I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper, which I didn't mention earlier, but I like that in there. So, or kondo BERBERE. Black pepper is known as kondo BERBERE. Salt is known as chow. And we're now going to add some olive oil. You can use any oil you like, but olive oil is really good. And we're going to add quite a lot. And that's probably not the last of the oil we're adding, by the way. We might be adding some more. So we're going to stay on this above medium heat, and we're going to go now for 6-7 minutes, stirring pretty much all the time. This is a long, slow process, but the result is absolutely wonderful. Incredible stuff. Now I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil. What I'm going to do, because I'm eyeballing this at the moment, so look below, and it'll tell you the amount that we end up using. So we're now going to drop in the magical berbere spice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4.5 tablespoons. What we're going to do now is we're going to switch the heat from above medium to below medium. Now what is super important when you're cooking this fantastic Ethiopian blend is to cook it. You can't just throw this stuff in and think it's done. It needs to cook for a long time. Now berbere is not chili. Some people just think it's a chili powder or shinkut duket. It is not. It's got loads and loads of stuff in it, and if you're going to buy it online, because most of you won't be able to buy it where you are, try and get it from Ethiopia. There's a lot of stores, you know, that say they have it, but it's just not the same at all. See if you can get it from a store in Ethiopia, because like I say, it's got incredible amounts of different things in there. Okay, so we're on a below medium now heat, and I'm going to be stirring now non-stop for about 8 minutes. It's going to make me strong, huh? Well, at least my right hand. Oops. Okay, so we're going, you know, for some time already. What we're going to do now, we're still going. This is still going to take a long time. The next step is we're going to start to add some water, just small amounts of water, in kind of 5-minute intervals. So another 5 minutes, I'm going to add the same again. And we're probably going to do it 5 or 6 times. Really going to cook this out. The word for water in Amharic is wuha. Something that is small is tinish. So we're adding a tinish amount of wuha at a time. And I could just add a little bit now. I mean, you don't have to go silly crazy. But yeah, small amounts. And we're probably going to put in about 3/4 of a litre. But again, I'm eyeballing it, so I'll tell you when it's done. So yeah, every 5 minutes, I'm going to chuck in a little bit of water or a tinish amount of wuha. Stir it, staying on this below medium heat. Yeah, it's going to take a while, isn't it? But it's going to be worth it. Okay, so a long process that was, adding the water very slowly. It was probably about 25 to 30 minutes, maybe, something like that. Now we're going to add our potatoes. Now do not add your potatoes unless you're confident that your meat or your siga is cooked well. It's the last thing that you need to do. So here we go, here's our potatoes, in they go. I'm going to give them a mix. And now we're going to add some more water. So we've put like just over a litre of water in this in total. So what we're going to do now is really nice and low, let it go. When the potatoes are tender and ready, then our Siga Dinach is done. Okay, so our potatoes are nice and tender now. Just a couple more things. We're now going to drop in, I didn't show you this earlier, we're going to drop in some kibe. Kibe means butter. This is an Ethiopian spice butter. If you don't have this, please don't just put butter in. It's very different. This has got loads of different spices, things like koromina, which is a huge black cardamom. It's not like little black cardamom, it's huge like that. It's very like a eucalyptus kind of flavour from it. Kosoret, which is a dried herb. Besobela, which is another herb. Now, I really am going to get round to showing you how to do this, but unfortunately, at the moment, I can't get my hands on those ingredients because of COVID and what have you. But as soon as I can get some of this stuff from Ethiopia, I'll be making kibe for you. And some people also make it, there's two ways of making it, a kind of dried version like I just explained, and then there's a kind of wet or a live version, which will also have garlic in it, ginger, and things like that. Even some people put onions in it sometimes. Okay, and then we're going to finish that off with that little MEKALESHA spice, and you only need a little tiny, pinch. You don't have to go crazy with it. And again, if you don't have it, don't panic. I will leave a link at the end. A little video will pop up on how to make that. I mean, there's quite a lot of ingredients in it. And that's it. Check that for salt. Just give it another 2 or 3 minutes. Let that butter melt in there, or the kibe dissolve itself into the pot. And that is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And there we go. Absolutely wonderful. Does take a long time to cook, but it really is very, very good. Of course, you can be serving that with some injera, or if you want, you can have some rice or bread with it, no problem. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you soon. Lots of love. I'm a Saganolo.